Welcome back to Ratchet Builds. So what I've got here today is a $3 RC car that I picked up from a garage sale, some of those flea market type ordeals. It had no controller, no battery, nothing with it. It's just this little Jeep body. So I actually wanted to upgrade it to a hobby grade V. So the first thing I started with it is actually editing the internals of the RC car. So what I've done is actually taken the two motors that are in it. It's got a front motor and a back motor, and I've wired them together to this little ESC that I picked up offline pretty cheap. And then I've got it plugged into my receiver, and then I've bound my receiver actually to a transmitter. Now I did go in here and add a normal size servo to it, which barely even gives it the clearance needed. Oops. And if you do that, it also, the shocks pop out. But I've got underneath here, I've just got a normal servo arm, drilled a screw through the steering linkage to actually make it all work. Whenever I do a tear down on this, I will actually show a little bit more detail about what we've done. But this was done a couple months ago, before I actually started doing any of the recordings or anything. So today I'm just going to put it together again, and I want to take it out to my course and see how this little almost stock RC car works. And then I'm actually planning on upgrading this RC car with a bunch of extra parts from my WPL truck. So I've got, you know, the front steering here. I've got a rear differential here. I've got my motor and my center case. And if you can hear in the background, I don't know if it's actually going to pick up on camera or not, but I am actually printing a custom frame that I am 3D designing to hook all this up. So then we're going to take it back out for another test drive once I get the upgrades put onto it with my customization. So this is just a preliminary first run. So, preliminary first run. This is our preliminary first run of it in kind of stock format. So, oh my God. This is our preliminary first run in kind of the stock format ish, because I didn't have a controller or a battery for it. So we're going to see how it does. Then once I get the upgrades done to it with my custom frame and put in the WPL suspension and motor in it, we're going to retest it for a second time just to see what the differences is. And then at that point in time, I'm going to see if there's anything else I can do to it. If it performs pretty well, I might actually go ahead and do metal upgrades to this as well, just to give it more weight, because it's going to be very, very light with my 3D printing and the stock WPL plastic axles and motor. Alright, so up next, let's get this thing outside and see what it can do. Let me get this body mounted back on, a battery in it, and we'll go. Oh, almost made it. Now with the really poor steering on this, I don't know if I'm actually going to make it up this. Oh man. See if we can come down. Oh. It apparently has no brakes, so I got to use reverse, and I hit it a little bit too hard. Same place. Oh, and we fell. We'll restart it. Back up here. It gets a little too gun-ho. So using my reverse a little bit for a brake. Oh, there we go again. Let's see what it does across the rocks. I'm pretty sure it won't make it up this at all, but you know, we do have speed on our side. Oh, I heard a crack. Oh, something in the rear is not working right. Oh yeah, I think I might have stripped the gear. Oh, we did a flip. Oh, and then we rolled. Oh, we lost the battery. All right, I think that's enough. Next, we'll do our upgrades to it and see what we can actually make it do. See if we can actually make a real crawler out of this car. Like I said, I was going to show y'all the actually the way that I have rigged this up to work with a standard servo. So we're going to go ahead and pop this body back off. So in here, like I said, I was going to show y'all on how I did the servo mod on this, because the stock servo just did not allow enough turning and it was not very responsive. So it's just a regular hex fly servo. I just took a arm and shaped it down and used the one side and used a screw through the stock steering rack to actually let this thing steer. So that way I could have proportional steering and something I actually could control. Alright, so what I'm going to do is tear down on this car. After many iterations on the frame, I finally have my RC car built. I've had to go through, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different frame iterations to finally get where I'm at. So I started off by making actually these high arch frames, and I was going to mount the suspension all the way at the top, but ran out of clearance, so I actually started making the lower ones, and then I wound up with just actually the flat frame that you actually see on the final version here. So that way I get the clearance I need for the shocks and also the suspension travel. So let me move these out of the way. Alright, our RC car that's home built is completed. WPL suspension, 3D printed frame, electronics that I sourced some from the WPL and some that I just had laying around. Like I said, I did forget to design in somewhere to put the battery, so we're just going to put it in the bed of the truck, strapped down by a simple zip tie just to hold it all in place. Let's go take it out and compare it to when this truck was still in its toy car form. See if we perform any better. Hey, this is future me. I started recording a video on the $3 RC car and got to the editing of it and realized I have lost the whole end of the video. So this is a couple of months down the road, and I just realized I had never put this video up, and I'm editing it now. So I'm just going to reshoot this end piece for y'all so that way you can see the performance with the upgrades done to the car. There has been a few things I think added to it. I did add some weights, but other than that, it's pretty much the same as what it was on the build proportion.
It is now time to conduct the right check. Oh dear, you have failed the right check. You must now face the consequences.
As you remember on the stock WPL, the stance isn't quite wide enough to make it all the way up this. The back tires just will not touch on both sides. So we're going to go ahead and skip this proportion and move it up to the top platform.
Right check.
So that concludes the course proportion of that. It performed a heck of a lot better, especially with that drag brake coming down the inclines. It doesn't just take off and fall off the course. So now we're going to do the rock crawling. You're going to have to forgive me on the rock crawling. I do have a little bit more plant material growing now. So conclusion time is, I definitely like the upgrades. I think it performs better. It's a ton of fun just playing with this little car that I got from the store for $3 and threw some extra parts on that I had laying around. Of course, it can't do the bridge very well on this course, and of course my rocks over here are just a little bit too big of a course for it to climb a lot of it. It does have some decent paths to go up, but it can't ever make it all the way to the top because it's too steep of an angle. I definitely enjoy playing with it, regardless of its full capabilities, and for something that was 3D printed and thrown together with extra parts, I'm ecstatic about it. So if y'all like this video, please like and subscribe. I do have future videos on buying cheap toy RC cars and upgrading coming. So thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a great day.